Hi everyone, today we're making one of the most delicious biryanis from Pakistan. This is one of the most beloved biryani recipes from Pakistan. We're making Sindhi Biryani. Sindh is a province in Pakistan and this is a very unique and delicious biryani that is popular throughout the country. It is also one of the most popular dishes that they serve on Pakistan International Airlines. Quite a similar biryani is made by the Sindhi community that lives in India as well. So let's take a look at how to make this delicious biryani. Here I'm going to teach you how to make this biryani from scratch. That means we're not using any store-bought spice mixes or masalas. So let's get started. As the base for this recipe, we first need to create a special spice mixture. This is a combination of special ingredients, whole spices and powdered spices that create this masala mix. So for this, we start off with 5 to 6 dried plums. Dried plums are often available in the dried fruit section of your supermarket. Dried plums, also known as ALOO BUKHARA, is one of the trademarks of this special rice dish. If you don't have dried plums, dried prunes may be substituted, but I much prefer the dried plums. And we also need 10 cloves, 10 black peppercorns, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, a quarter teaspoon of CAROM seeds, also known as ajwain, we need a teaspoon of cinnamon. Break it down into small sticks so that you can measure it like this. Another spice that we're using is black cardamom pods. We're using 2 black cardamom pods. Don't want to use too much of this because it has a very strong flavor. Some powdered spices that we're adding are a tablespoon of chili powder, as well as half a tablespoon of paprika. Adding a quarter teaspoon of coriander powder and 1/8 of a teaspoon of turmeric powder. We also want a quarter to a half teaspoon of fennel seed powder and a quarter teaspoon of ground dried ginger. This spice mix can be used to make chicken biryani, mutton or lamb biryani, so you can also add a half a teaspoon of meat tenderizer, but this is optional. I am, however, adding it today. Now we're adding green cardamom pods, 8 green cardamom pods here, as well as 2 whole spices of star anise, 4 bay leaves, a half a teaspoon of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. So that's all the ingredients you need for this special spice mix. Just stir it all together and store it. Well, you can do this the night before to make your job easier. Just store it in a tight container and set it aside. So once we have our spice mix ready, the next step is to soak our basmati rice. We have 3.5 cups of basmati rice here. We're going to rinse it really well a couple of times till the water runs clear. Once you've rinsed the rice, you want to soak it in fresh water for 15 minutes and then drain it. Keep the rice drained until you're ready to make the biryani. And now we can start cooking. For this you need 3/4 to 1 cup of oil. I'm using sunflower oil. This is for the masala and the rice and frying the onions, so all the stages of making a biryani. Whereas in other techniques for making biryani, you need to add oil or clarified butter, that's ghee, to several stages like frying the onions, to make the masala, to cook the rice. Here, all the oil is added in one stage right at the beginning, so that's why you need this amount of oil. 3/4 to 1 cup of oil added to a heavy based pot with a lid. I'm using my pressure cooker because it's a nice sturdy pot, and I am using the pressure cooker, but I will not be using the pressure cooking function. I'm just using it because it has a nice sturdy base. I place the pressure cooker on heat till it's preheated before adding the oil, and then we add the oil and wait for it to heat up a bit. And to the hot oil, we're going to add 2 red onions that have been thinly sliced like this. You don't need more than 2 red onions. This will be sufficient. And now you're going to patiently stir and fry these onions in the oil with constant stirring till they're nice and golden and brown. Now after frying them for a while, they're getting nice and crisp and they're golden brown. At this stage, we can add our chicken. We're adding 1¼ kilograms of chicken pieces that have been thoroughly rinsed and drained. We add the chicken pieces to the fried onions. Along with this, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of crushed garlic or garlic paste. That's fresh garlic there. Now give it a good stir, and you're going to fry this on high heat till the chicken is coated with the golden fried onions. It sort of absorbs the color of the golden onions, and the garlic also loses its pungency and it starts to smell really good. But now the chicken has turned slightly opaque and it has also taken on the color of those golden fried onions. At this stage, we're going to add 3 potatoes. 3 potatoes that have been cut into large chunks like this. That goes in, as well as the prepared spice mix. We're adding all of the prepared spice mix at this stage, and then we're going to give it a good stir. Along with this, we're going to also add 2 tablespoons of crushed ginger. That's fresh ginger. And now give it a good stir till all the ingredients coat the chicken really well. Once everything is thoroughly mixed, we can add yogurt. Half a cup of thick yogurt that has been whipped well before adding. And now give that a good stir. Now you're going to cook this on a medium heat for about 5 minutes, adding a little bit more salt as needed. We did have 1 teaspoon of salt in the spice mix. We're going to add around ½ teaspoon of extra salt at this stage. Add according to taste. After cooking for 5 minutes, we can add water as required. Now for chicken, we need to add 2 cups of water, but this recipe can be used to make mutton or beef Sindhi Biryani. In this case, you need to add more water. But here, 2 cups is sufficient. Add the water and cover and cook for 10 minutes on a low heat. And please note that I am using my pressure cooker pot, but I'm not pressure cooking the chicken. So we're going to let the chicken cook here for 10 minutes on low heat. Meanwhile, on another stove, we've got a large pot with 3 liters of water. Bring this to a boil. This is to cook the rice. To the water, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of salt. Yes, we do need this much of salt because this water is going to be drained. We're going to cook the rice much like we cook pasta. However, we're going to drain the water when it's 3/4 cooked. So you do need this much of salt so that the rice is seasoned properly. So that's 3 liters of water and 3 tablespoons of salt. To this, you're going to add 5 cloves and 2 sticks of cinnamon. Bring this to a nice strong boil. And in our cooker, once the chicken has cooked for 10 minutes on low heat, we're going to open this and take a look at how much liquid is left. You want to continue to boil this till 2 cups of gravy remains. I just eyeball this. Just make sure you have 2 cups of gravy left and make sure that the masala doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot. And once the water for the rice has reached a rolling boil, we're going to add the drained rice. Give it a stir. Cover with the lid and cook on high till the water bubbles up and touches the lid. This happens in a matter of a minute or so, so don't step away. Once the water bubbles up like this and touches the lid, immediately remove the lid, lower the heat, and then simmer for exactly 5 minutes. In this time, you want to keep your colander ready to drain your rice. Precisely after 5 minutes, drain the rice. Here you have 3/4 cooked rice, and you know that it's done properly when you take a grain of rice between your fingers. When you break it, it should break into about 3 or 4 pieces. That's just right. You don't want to cook your rice completely because it's going to cook again with the chicken masala. Once the gravy and the chicken masala has reduced to 2 cups, we're going to add this to the same pot that we cooked the rice. This is because the pot is larger and we want to layer our rice over it. So that's why I transferred it over here. As the pot heats up again, we're going to add 2 medium tomatoes that have been chopped like this over the masala, don't mix, and as well as 1 cup of fresh mint leaves and 1 cup of fresh coriander or cilantro leaves, as well as 5 to 8 hot small green chilies. You can use more chilies if you like. This is known to be a spicy biryani, so you can add to taste. And if you want it even spicier, you can slit the green chilies before you add them. But do note that once you add the tomatoes and the green herbs and chilies, you're not going to mix the masala. You're just creating a layer before you add the rice. So once we've laid this green masala over the top, we're going to cover again and cook on a very low heat for 5 to 7 minutes again. And after about 7 minutes, I'm going to add the cooked rice. Fluff it up as you add it so that there are no big lumps. Add all the rice and just pat it gently and smooth the top surface. Don't press it too tightly. Now cover again and cook on low heat for another 10 minutes. This allows the steam to develop and the flavors of the masala to permeate through the cooked rice, and it also finishes cooking the rice so that it's nice and soft and fluffy. After the 10 minutes, we can add a few drops of biryani coloring, or for a natural substitute, is just to add concentrated saffron water. That's saffron that has been soaking in hot water. And just add it over the rice before you toss it gently to mix all the masala through the rice. At this stage, don't mix too strongly, otherwise you risk getting the rice too mushy because it's holding a lot of steam and it's still quite hot. You just want to toss it gently so that the masala is mixed uniformly, and then keep it covered till the moisture sort of dries out a little bit, and then your biryani will be perfectly cooked. The rice is perfect. The delicious touch of the Sindhi masala. So I hope you try this easy recipe for Sindhi Biryani. If you do try it, please let me know. Hope you enjoyed the video recipe. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.